Hey, what's up? How's it going? My name is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel, and today you're going to see a video that I'm very excited about that I've been wanting to make for years because it's going to be reading like a Capricorn for a week. And what better time to make this than during Capricorn season? It's upon us. My birthday is about a week away, and so I decided leading up to my birthday that I would like to read books that are recommended for Capricorns. And if you didn't know, Capricorns are people who were born between December 22nd and January 20th. My birthday lands on January 18th, and Capricorns are earth signs, which typically means that we're like very grounded and very responsible and reliable. And I've been recently getting a little bit more into astrology and trying to learn what it all means, but ever since I've really started looking into it a few years ago, I have found that I very much identify with the Capricorn sun sign. If you are curious to know my sun, moon, and rising, I have a Capricorn sun, a Leo moon, and a Cancer rising, and to be honest, I'm not 100% sure what that says about me, but I think it's really interesting to know. I was looking at the Cosmopolitan. They kind of wrote this article about what makes someone a Capricorn or what common traits that you see in Capricorns. They said the earth sign crew are all practical, self-reliant, and ambitious. You'd want them in your corner, but maybe not at a party. It says Capricorns are the hardest workers of the zodiac and love nothing more than getting ahead in life. They are ambitious, determined, materialistic, and strong. They will keep on going when others have given up 10 miles back. They tend to keep smaller circles, but are loyal and supportive of their friends and loved ones. I find it really incredible though, how spot on this stuff can be, because I saw this website that has these positive traits of a Capricorn and the negative traits of a Capricorn, and I feel like I really identify with both the positive and the negative things. Some of the positive things are that Capricorns are conventional. Both in work and their personal lives, they like to play it safe and feel comfortable. Capricorns are true workaholics. They have the tendency to overexert themselves, often to the point of exhaustion. Capricorns set very high goals for themselves. They have the drive to do better, and because they never let themselves off the hook, they strive to go above and beyond. Their discipline in following the rules keeps them organized in pursuing their goals. Deep down, Capricorns really are sensitive and in touch with their emotions. They have zero tolerance towards people putting others down and will confront those who bully and mock them. Because of this, they tend to hold grudges against those who have offended them. And some of the negative traits that I can also definitely relate to include materialistic. Capricorns love to succeed, and that means they sometimes put too much emphasis on money, which this is something that I very often see whenever people talk about Capricorns, is that Capricorns love money, and they're all about dollar signs, and I feel like that's partially true for me. I can definitely see that within myself, but I also don't think I have that kind of passion the same way other Capricorns do, but I do love Monopoly, and I'll be pissed if I lose at Monopoly. Another bad trait is pessimistic. When Capricorns put on their blinders, it means they are overthinking something. These emotions can cause them to get stuck in a negative cycle, always assuming the worst about a situation. Is that not me? I'm always talking about how I'm a very pessimistic person, and I try to save myself from disappointment by being pessimistic about things. Another bad trait is stubbornness, which is also definitely true. It says Capricorns are quite stubborn and hold others to very high standards. For Capricorns, it's either their way or the highway, which can make it difficult for others to get along with them. Another negative trait is overly serious. Capricorns tend to take their responsibilities way too seriously. They have a strong sense of responsibility to provide for others, but their overly serious nature can come off as being reserved, standoffish, rigid, or aloof. And then the last one that I really relate to is being suspicious. It says Capricorns are naturally this way, especially when things are way too easy. They hate when things are going too well because they are waiting for the other shoe to drop, so to speak. Their trust only goes so far because they are overthinkers and will trust until you give them a reason not to. And I feel like that's something that I have touched on many times before, is how I feel like when things are going too well, I do get suspicious about it, and I feel like I'm just waiting for something bad to happen, and I don't know how to explain that feeling, but I hate that, and it gives me a lot of anxiety, and there's literally no logical reason for it, and I think that's why it makes me mad. But anyways, that is an introduction to Capricorns. It's an introduction to who I am as a person. And I decided that I wanted to read some books that are specifically recommended for Capricorns because maybe I could find some main characters that I really identify with, or some stories that I really connect with. And so I went to YouTube and I tried to find a bunch of different videos of people either recommending books for your specific zodiac sign or just a video that's specifically just Capricorn recommendations. So one of the videos that I found that I would like to include in this video comes from Kelly McDevitt. She made this video called What Book You Should Read Based on Your Zodiac Sign. So let's see what she says for Capricorn.
Listen, I love me a good Capricorn, earth signs. My best friend Mara is a Capricorn, and I feel like you guys are just like super down to earth, you know, you bring everyone else just kind of back to their core. You're very like warm to be around. Maybe I'm just describing my friend Mara, but I have no problem with Capricorns. They're chill. I feel like, you know, sometimes they can be a little boring, but that's okay. That's why we love them. And you know, they're earth signs. So that's why I picked Wild by Cheryl Strayed. I just feel like you guys would enjoy this book because it's just like a really inspiring story, but it's also very earthy, and I feel like you guys would like that kind of storyline of just like being in nature.
Interesting. All right, so we have the book Wild, which is honestly, like, I don't think Wild is a book that I ever would have personally read on my own. So I'm excited for the opportunity to get to read it in this video because I am curious about it. I know Reese Witherspoon did a movie on Wild like a couple years ago that I still have never seen, even though I love Reese Witherspoon. So maybe this will be a cool opportunity for me to, you know, read this book and watch the movie adaptation. Another video that I found that I got 2 book recommendations from this one is Capricorn Book Recommendations, which was uploaded by The Lit Review. And she made this 19-minute video that is all just recommendations for Capricorns, which I thought was like really cool and really helpful. First book that she recommends in this video is Everything I Never Told You, which is just fantastic. I loved that book so much, and so if I hadn't already read this one, I would have loved to include it in this video, but I agree, that book is amazing. So one of the books that I ended up choosing for this video is one that she's talking about that hasn't actually released yet at this time, so I guess she hasn't actually read the book yet, but just from the premise, it sounds like something a Capricorn would be interested in.
Have a Match by Emma Lord, and that is coming out on January 12th. So that one sounds really interesting to me. From what I can tell, it is a book about a young woman who takes like a DNA test and realizes for the first time in her life that she has a sister. But her sister is like an Instagram model, like an influencer. And so she's really confused about, because she's adopted. So she's really like, wait a minute, why did our parents keep you and not me? So she ends up going to a summer camp where she can have a run-in with her long lost sister.
It sounds interesting, and even though I don't read a lot of young adult contemporary these days, I do like books that have like sister relationships in it, especially like estranged sisters like this, so I think it will be something that I might be interested in. And so I decided to pick You Have a Match as one of the books that I'm going to be reading for this video. And then I did pull one other recommendation from this video.
One of the good ones by Micah and Maritza Mulite, pulling from that family and tradition core, but also then pushing against that by looking at things like expecting the worst from people, the perils of being condescending or condescended to, and the idea of self-control and how you try to like hold that in for whatever reason, and then there are good and bad things to that. And those are all things that I see in the description of this book.
One of the good ones is another one of the books that I'm planning on reading for this video. This one's another young adult contemporary from what I can tell, but again, it involves sisters, and so I feel like this one's definitely going to be something that's hard-hitting, but it also sounds like I'm going to be able to relate a lot to this main character, not just with like a passionate like love for her sister, and you know, like she was just saying, the fact that she like expects the worst from people and probably has a pretty like pessimistic attitude about things. I feel like I might really connect to this one, so I'm gonna choose this book to read for this video. And then the last book recommendation that I'm taking for this video came from this other video called Capricorn Book Recommendations, uploaded by Katie Walter, and in this she recommends a number of different books in this video. The first book that she recommends in this video is The Hating Game, which we're off to a great start because I freaking love The Hating Game. And then the next book she recommends is Bear Town, which is another one of my favorite books. So like, this is going great so far. I trust you. And then the next book she recommends is the one that I'm choosing to read for this video.
To recommend is Educated by Tara Westover. This is actually a nonfiction book. I don't read a lot of nonfiction, but I loved this book. This follows a girl that was raised in a Mormon household, a very strictly Mormon household that refused to put her through public education, and they believed that the government, anything that the government had their hands on, was tainted by the devil, and it was just like not a good situation for her. She has this internalized hatred for the government that just from being in this family, and being raised in this environment, but eventually she ends up breaking off and going on to get her PhD.
I chose Educated as the fourth and final book that I'm going to be reading for this video. And I don't know, I haven't actually read this book yet. I know this book is super, super popular, and so that's kind of a reason why I'm excited to read it. I've heard so many good things about it. And the premise does sound really interesting. Like, I do like the idea of somebody being able to break away from something that they've always known in their life and being able to go and do things that they never thought they could do. Like, that does sound very inspiring to me. And so yeah, in this video I have a mix of 2 young adult contemporaries and then 2, you know, more non-fiction reads, and I'm excited that I have kind of a mixed bag of different things that I'm going to be reading for this video. I did end up checking all of these books out from my library. I tried to get Wild in time for this, but unfortunately my hold did not come through, but luckily I was able to get all of these at the same time. It just worked out perfect. But I also do have all 4 audiobooks checked out through my library, so I'm gonna end up just listening to Wild on audio. And yeah, now that we're done with this super long intro, I hope you enjoy this video of me reading some Capricorn book recommendations. Hello, what's up? How's it going? I am now 130 pages into You Have a Match by Emma Lord. I do have the audiobook from my library checked out for this as well, so it's reading very quick. I've only been listening to it for a little bit here, but so far this book is alright. You know, it is reading very young adult, which is no surprise because this is a young adult book. And I guess the thing that's supposed to make this, you know, relatable to Capricorns is because of the main character and her, you know, craving independence, but also like wanting control of her life and wanting answers, because we're following this main character named Abby, which, you know, that's pretty close to my name, so like that's weird. But she signs up for this DNA service. When she signs up, she finds out that she has this sister that she never knew that she had before, and her sister is like this influencer, like she's pretty popular, she has a girlfriend. This whole book is about her going to this like summer camp in order to, you know, become friends with her sister or like discover who her sister is. But her sister is kind of a brat, I think, you know, at the beginning of this book. Like, they're just on these like terms where they're not very friendly with each other. I could see myself, you know, loving this book because I do love books that follow like sister relationships, and I do think that their sister relationship is pretty complicated and pretty interesting. I also think it's funny because there's a ghost at this camp that like supposedly like haunts some of the camp, and the ghost's name is Gabby, which, like, what's up? I just thought that was like really funny. And yeah, I don't know, like so far it's okay. It's just, it's reading very young, but I guess I do see like why a Capricorn would relate to this main character, and this main character does give me Capricorn vibes. I guess I'm just not super interested in the romance that I know is happening in this book. I feel like there always like has to be a romance in young adult books, you know? And that's something that's so frustrating about young adult contemporary, is that a lot of the times I just like reading about coming of age, you know, family driven stories. Like, I don't need this like teen romance happening on the side. I also really love our main character. Her best friend in this book is named Connie, and I love how she's like, let's list out the pros and cons. It was just so cute and it made me laugh, and I don't know, I really like her best friend. I had forgotten too that I read the book Tweet Cute by this author because I was like, Emma Lord sounds so familiar. I was like, where do I know that name from? And it's because this was the author of Tweet Cute. So like, I enjoyed Tweet Cute, you know, like it wasn't super memorable for me, but it was like a cute young adult contemporary that I totally didn't mind. Anyways, I do think that I'll try to finish listening to this on audio later tonight because it is so short. It's only about 300 pages, so I'm already almost like halfway through, and I'll let you know my final thoughts when I get there. So it is the next morning, but I wanted to let you know that last night I finished reading You Have a Match, and this book, you know, as expected, it ended up being just okay for me. While I did enjoy the, you know, sister relationship that was going on in the book, I did find the romance to be pretty cheesy, and like, I don't know, it's like I wasn't expecting to love this book because it's young adult, so that's kind of more of a me thing and something that I know going into books like this. But also, like, I do appreciate some of the quality traits in the main character, and I can see how maybe other Capricorns could relate to her as a main character. I mean, there were certain aspects of her character that I could relate to, but for the most part, I don't know, I just found the story to be all right. To be fair, this wasn't a book that I would have picked up on my own, even though I did read Tweet Cute a couple years ago. But you know, as the years go on, I'm reading less and less young adult, and it's usually because I just find them to be really cheesy, you know, too cliche and just kind of like over the top. And I felt the same about this one, but I will say that I think Tweet Cute was a lot cuter than this one. Like Tweet Cute was a little bit less cringy. But yeah, this morning I am going to the library to pick up a few more books that I need. And I actually haven't been to this local library in like years, but it sounds weird because my local libraries, they're all kind of like connected in the area that I live in. So I usually go to the one that's in my parents' area, like where they live, because that library is like really small town and like really nice and really cute. But this library that's in my like local area, it's kind of in like a, not like a downtown area, but kind of like a downtown area because you have to like pay for parking and like everything like that. So I never really go to this library, and honestly, like I haven't been to this library in years, so like I'm hoping that I still remember like where everything is. But anyways, while I'm out and about today, I thought I would start Wild on audio because it seems like I'm not going to be able to get my hands on the physical book in time for this. And so I think I'm just going to start listening to this one on audio since I do have the audiobook checked out from my library. So I think I'm going to start listening to this morning while I'm out. I might also do some grocery shopping while I'm out. It just depends on how things go. It's a little bit later in the afternoon. It's like 12:30 now. I just got some food, so I'm finally going to be eating. But I wanted to let you know that I got 29% of the way through Wild so far. But I'm already really surprised by how much I'm enjoying this book. You know, I wasn't sure if this was really going to be my thing or not because I don't read a lot of nonfiction, and especially like nonfiction that's kind of about, you know, like hiking and nature and like that kind of thing. Like I don't think I've ever read a book like this before, but something that I find absolutely fascinating about this so far is the fact that it takes place during the summer of 1995, and the author at this time was 26 years old, which, like, how weird of a coincidence is that, because I was born in 1995 and I'm currently 26 years old. So like, what a weird coincidence. Like, I feel even more connected to her because of those things. And like, I don't know, I kind of like the idea of, you know, this woman just like going out on her own and just like trying to hike this Pacific Crest Trail, which is supposed to be like really hard to do, but it just sounds really interesting. And I don't know, like, I totally agree with what she's saying about how like when she was out there she expected, you know, to do a lot of meditating on her life and like thinking a lot about her different life choices and regrets that she has and all these things, because she's kind of had like a really hard time in life, you know, because she's battling the loss of her mother and she's also dealing with some like drug issues too. But it's like she's mentioning how when she's out there in nature, her mind is just completely, you know, like wiped clear of all of her problems in life, and she's more just like connected to her body and thinking about like, what does my body need? But it's like the problems are like different problems than the ones that she has in the real world, you know, like they're more like physical body related problems as opposed to like thinking about your life in that way, if that makes sense. And I do think that that's so true, that when you're like out in nature, you're just more connected to like your inner self, if that makes any sense. So I don't know, I'm really enjoying this. I wasn't expecting to love it so much, like right off the bat. I'm really loving it. It honestly kind of makes me want to go out and like go on a walk this afternoon or like go on a hike, because it's been so long, because I've been cooped up in the apartment for a long time due to a number of different reasons. But like today it's actually like 50 freaking degrees outside. Like this is the warmest day we've had in over like a month. So I feel like later today I kind of want to go on a walk while I listen to this on audio. It's just inspiring me, you know, it makes me want to get out there. What's up? I am back from my walk, and while I was on my walk, I read up to 66% of the way through this audiobook. I only have 4.5 hours left of it. I've just been listening to it all day, and I'm honestly just loving it so much. Like, it's one of those audiobooks that I can't seem to stop listening to because I'm just so fascinated by it, and I'm so invested in like what's going on. And I feel like every now and then, you know, you stumble across these books at the perfect time in your life, and I feel like this is one of those books for me because it's really just inspiring me, and I'm feeling very connected to this main character, and I'm feeling so much sympathy for her. I know I said main character, but this is a true story. This is the author's memoir. It's like her story. And so I feel like for those reasons it's even more powerful. And not to mention, like right now, like a second ago in the audiobook, she just mentioned the city where I live in Washington right now. She mentioned that she like had a teacher that was born in this city that she really admired, and I was like, what's up? Yeah, I don't know, there's just something about this book. Like, I almost wish that I was reading it physically at the same time so that I could like mark and highlight some of my favorite passages, because there are some passages that are just so beautiful. And I just feel so much sympathy for her, you know, because she's struggled in life, she's been through so much, she doesn't have either of her parents around anymore. The idea that she's like taking on this journey by herself, and like everyone keeps asking her, they're like, oh, you're a woman that's alone out here, and everybody's acting like it's such a huge issue, or like nobody ever does this. Like, while I'm reading this, I'm just like proud that she's like willing to take this on all on her own and like show so much growth within herself. How's it going? It's a little bit later in the night, and I am now 81% of the way through the Wild audiobook, and I'm still really enjoying it. But for now, I thought it would be fun to do a couple of different little like quizzes online that are like based on your zodiac sign. I came across a few of these when I was planning on doing this video, and so I thought it would be fun to like take a few different quizzes. So the first one that I thought we could take is this BuzzFeed quiz that said, can we guess your star sign based on your taste in books? And I was like, okay, this sounds like it would be fun. Okay, so the first question is to pick a classic, which oh, okay. Well, The Haunting of Hill House is the only one that I've read out of these, and to be honest, it would probably be the one that I would pick. So I'm just gonna pick The Haunting of Hill House. Pick a YA novel. Ooh, we got Fangirl, Perks of Being a Wallflower, The Hate You Give. I've got a couple good ones in here, but I'm gonna go with Fangirl, of course. Pick a series. Ooh, not a huge series reader, to be honest. Ooh, I'd probably go with a series of Unfortunate Events. That was one that I enjoyed. Oh my gosh, lastly, pick a memoir. This is it. Okay. Well, that's ironic that I'm actually reading Educated for this video, but I have not yet actually read it. So I feel like this might be the answer for Capricorns, but I'm gonna go with Becoming by Michelle Obama. Okay, so it guessed that I'm a Sagittarius. You're a naturally curious person who loves learning about new cultures and philosophies through the books that you read. I mean, they're not wrong, but I'm not a Sagittarius, so interesting. I thought that this list was pretty cool because it's top 10 Capricorn protagonists in movies. And so this has like a bunch of different characters from like iconic movies that are all Capricorns. So I thought it'd be cool to like look over this because freaking Batman, freaking what's up? Batman is a freaking Capricorn. It's been declared. Isn't that cool? Love that. Okay, let's see who else. Okay, we have Jason Bourne. Number 8 is Hawkeye, which what's up? We love Hawkeye. I just finished watching the Hawkeye series. It was great. 7 is Indiana Jones. I feel like these are a lot of really like badass, iconic main characters over here. 6 is Sebastian from La La Land. Not one of my all-time favorite movies being on this list. This is amazing. It says one of the things that made Sebastian such a lovable character was his lifelong dream and his commitment to making that dream happen. He was so committed, he lost the love of his life, and although he ended up with his restaurant, it was a bittersweet ending for him. I also thought it would be cool to look at this list from Oprah Daily that has 37 famous Capricorns, because I thought this was really interesting to look at because there are way more celebrity Capricorns than I thought there were. Like when I was growing up over these last couple of years, I only really knew about Michelle Obama and Betty White, which like freaking rest in peace, Betty White. So Ryan Seacrest is a Capricorn, who knew? Jared Leto is a Capricorn, I guess. That's great. I don't really care for Jared Leto, but okay. Kit Harington, I know he's from Game of Thrones. Timothy Chalamet, what's up? This is so crazy because I feel like all of these Capricorns are December Capricorns. I haven't seen too many January Capricorns yet. Denzel Washington? What the heck? Gayle King. Okay, I think this is going in order of birthdays, so now I feel dumb. John Legend is a Capricorn. Allison Brie? My fucking queen, I love her. LeBron James. Freaking Bradley Cooper is a Capricorn, what's up? Not Beyonce's daughter, Blue Ivy, being on this list, amazing. Kate Middleton. Mary J. Blige. Orlando Bloom. Jason Bateman. Not Jason Bateman being a Capricorn too. Oh my gosh, and his birthday's only 4 days before mine. Regina King. Oh my god, amazing, a queen. Oh my god, Lin-Manuel Miranda. His birthday is 2 days before mine, like the more you know. Oh my gosh, Jim Carrey too. Wow, I didn't know that. Michelle Obama. Okay, see, this is my queen right here. I always knew that Michelle Obama, her birthday is the day before mine. Like, what a legend. And Betty White. Zooey Deschanel. This is another one that I forgot that I knew. Zooey Deschanel, her birthday is before mine, which is so cool. Dolly Parton. Wow, the way it just like skipped my birthday. Like there are no celebrity birthdays on January 18th actually. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that slightly ridiculous but also kind of fun different adventure of finding out different Capricorn related things on the internet. Hello, good morning. It is the next morning and last night I finished listening to Wild on audio. And to be honest, I'm kind of surprising myself by the fact that I want to give this 5 stars. Like I just really, really loved it. I felt so alive while I was listening to this on audio, and honestly like I got a little misty-eyed at the end. Like I don't know if this makes me like a basic ass bitch because the ending wasn't anything like super profound or anything, but like after I finished it I started looking up all the different quotes from it, and there's like a ton of different cute little like quotes that people make on Redbubble for like some of the quotes in this book. Like I'm seriously so tempted to get this little quote thing that just says, "My life, like all lives, mysterious, irrevocable, sacred, so very close, so very present, so very belonging to me, how wild it was to let it be." Bitch, what the fuck? That is like poetry. I don't know, I guess I'm just like amazed by how much I really enjoyed this book. I really felt like I want to be more connected with nature after reading this book, which is something, to be honest, that I've never really cared a whole lot about. Like I've never been the kind of person who's like, yeah, let's go on a freaking hike, or like let's get out there in the world today. I'm definitely more of like a homebody. Like I'm perfectly comfortable with staying indoors for most of the day, but this is like a reminder of what it can do for your mental health to, you know, connect with nature and to like get back out there. It almost kind of reminds me of how I have an obsession with these vlogs on YouTube for Hannah Lee Duggan. She's like my favorite, but then also her friend Isabel Page also has a YouTube channel, which I can link both of them down below, but they basically have these vlogs of like their tiny homes, or like they have a house that's like in the middle of the woods, or they have like van life vlogs where they're just kind of like out on the road and they're kind of in nature all the time. And I don't know, like their vlogs are always so motivating to me and they make me feel so alive. Like I just like live vicariously through them, because I always like, I love the idea of just like getting a van and just going and seeing the world. I mean, I don't think I will ever do that though, because I'm way too anxious of a person and I don't trust the world to like be on my own like that in the middle of nowhere. Like I think that's really scary, but also like it's just so amazing to kind of like live through these other girls and kind of see how they're able to live this way. And I don't know, I just thought that this book was so inspiring, you know? Like this book definitely makes me want to go like out on hikes more. It makes me want to go and like explore more of Washington, you know, because it's crazy how this book takes place on the Pacific Crest Trail, which is from California all the way up to Washington state. But I feel like I always take for granted how beautiful of a state that I live in. Like Washington is like peak hiking beauty. Like people come up and visit Washington because it is like the ideal place for hiking because it's gorgeous. Like everywhere in Washington is freaking gorgeous. Like so much green, so much water. So I feel like ever since I've lived here, I really haven't taken advantage of the beauty that is like the outdoors of Washington. So I feel like this book is really inspiring me to want to do that more, to like want to get out and go and visit these places and just like get out and do stuff, you know, like out in the wild. Get it? See that pun that I just did there? Ooh, I really enjoyed this, and I'm so glad that I read this book for this video. What the heck? Because I don't think I would have ever read Wild, to be honest. And so I think later this week too, or like sometime in these next few days, I want to watch the Wild movie with Reese Witherspoon because I never actually watched it. And Reese Witherspoon is not only one of my favorite actresses, but the director actually recently just passed away, and he's like one of my favorite directors, so it's kind of fucking tragic because he was the director of Sharp Objects, Big Little Lies, Demolition, Dallas Buyers Club, like just to name a few. He's an incredible director, and I never got around to seeing Wild because I thought I was never interested in this subject matter, but clearly I was wrong. And because I love Reese Witherspoon so much, like I'm just so excited to see her take on this role in this book. Like I just think she would do a really good job. I think I might do one of the good ones next because since Educated is another, you know, nonfiction, I kind of want to break up the nonfiction and the young adult books.
Just to have you a little bit closer. Oh, I want you to be looking at me like you look at me. I keep telling myself it will happen eventually, and I keep holding on to my last bit of sanity. I would rather I lose with you than try to win with somebody new. I would rather I lose with you, and honestly, what else can I really do? Honestly, what else can I do?
What's up? How's it going? I haven't been very good at updating this vlog, but I feel like I got a lot done today. I ended up filming these 2 videos, I edited 2 videos, and then later tonight, it's Saturday night, so we ended up watching a movie. We watched The Mitchells versus the Machines, which is this like animated movie that's on Netflix, and it was so freaking cute. It made me cry, and it was just quite adorable, but I wanted to let you know that I have been listening to one of the good ones on audio today. I'm 42% of the way into the book, which puts me at about like 145 pages in, so I'm definitely making a dent, and I think I'm planning on just like spending the rest of the night, you know, laying in bed listening to this and trying to finish it on audio tonight because it's like reading super quick, but also this book has been really heavy because, you know, not only are we reading about these 2 sisters, but one of the sisters died at a protest. And I was actually looking on Goodreads just out of curiosity because the Goodreads description literally says, "The hate you give meets Get Out." And I was like, what the heck? Like, why didn't I see this sooner? And I don't know why I haven't heard of this book. I feel like with a premise like that, I feel like I would have heard about this. Like, I feel like this should be more popular. But yeah, this story, it's following these 3 sisters, as you can see on the cover, and we kind of jump around with, and we get all of their points of views. But the main story is about how one of the sisters died at this protest under mysterious circumstances. And it's so crazy because she was a YouTuber, which is just like, anytime there's like a sister relationship that's like really sad and really complex like this, but then there's also something else about one of the characters that I really relate to, like being a YouTuber, it just like hits me 10 times harder, you know, because it's hard enough, you know, to read about sister relationships like this where one of the sisters dies. Like that's always really hard for me because, you know, I'm really close with my sister, but then to have the extra thing that I can relate to also with like her being a YouTuber, like it just feels like it hits 10 times harder. And not Not to mention, like, I definitely do relate to this main character as well because she's just really frustrated with, like, you know, society and the world because her sister is just being used as, like, this role model, like she was one of the good ones, and she's just so frustrated because her sister was more than just, like, this role model for people, you know, she was more than just this YouTuber, like, it was her freaking sister, and she misses her. Yeah, I do think, obviously, this book is bringing up a lot of really great social commentary, in particular, police brutality and the injustice that exists in America today. It's not an easy read by any means, but I think it's a very educational and very important book, especially for young people. So to be honest, I'm just kind of surprised that I haven't heard of this one. Like, I just would have expected something like this to be a little bit more popular. Anyways, I'm really enjoying this. I'm just gonna lay in bed and try to finish this one up on audio tonight.
I got this feeling, getting harder to tell if I'm dreaming. Will you believe in? Do you see all the things that I'm seeing? I keep telling myself it will happen eventually, and I keep holding on. I would rather lose with you than try to win with somebody new. I would rather lose with you, and honestly, what else can I do?
Good morning. Hello. And last night I finished listening to One of the Good Ones, and I thought that this book was really freaking good. As I kind of said earlier, this book not only reminds me of The Hate You Give, but I feel like it's a cross between The Hate You Give and Monday's Not Coming. It definitely gave me those vibes, and so I feel like if you enjoyed either of those two books, you would probably also really enjoy this one. I really love the fact that this is a book that's about sisters, and it's written by two sisters, which I don't know why I didn't realize that sooner. So, like, how freaking beautiful is that? I think something about this book that might feel slightly, like, awkward is the feeling of the genre kind of getting changed, like, halfway through this book. I think it was kind of not like an abrupt change, but almost like an unexpected change in mood and tone of the book. And so the second half of this book ends up feeling very different from the first half of this book, but I personally didn't mind it too much. But I really love the message in this book about how somebody shouldn't have to be one of the good ones in order to deserve our love and respect. Like, being a human being is enough of a reason for people to deserve respect, especially in situations where it comes to people being mistreated by police. Like, you don't have to be one of the good ones in order to like be worthy of respect. And she talks about a lot in this book how people will say this phrase all the time with good intentions, but it's actually like really harmful to say like, oh well, she was one of the good ones, because then that's like the only reason why we can like mourn her death and why we can fight for her is because she was one of the good ones. I also really loved the author's note at the end of this book. I just think it makes all of the conversation in this book even more powerful. And yeah, honestly, like, I could see this being required reading in schools, kind of like The Hate You Give, just because it has that same powerful message. And I think that this is a really important book for young people to read. So yeah, I'm really glad I decided to read this one this week. I probably honestly would have never even heard of this book if I wasn't doing this video, so I think that's freaking awesome. Anyways, the only book I have left to read is Educated, and today is Sunday morning. I'm probably just gonna eat some breakfast and then hopefully get started on this book on audio. Churros. We got some beans and rice. Some asada fries.
Just where it was needed. Gleaming black as night. Cloistered in injustice. Dead.
Hey, what's what's up? It's just after 9 o'clock and I've been doing a lot today, but I feel like I haven't been vlogging too much today because today was kind of like a laundry and cleaning day. And then, you know, me and my sister, we were doing some of our like reading journal stuff. Like I was finally setting up my reading journal for this year. It's coming along. We were watching some YouTube videos and then we ended up watching the movie The Lost Daughter on Netflix. Finally, I've been wanting to watch that for so long and it was really good. While doing all of my different like chores earlier today, like laundry and cleaning and stuff, I was able to get 33% of the way into Educated. And so far this book is a really difficult read because of the way that this author was treated by her family growing up. You know, because in this book so far we're just seeing a lot of her childhood and what it was like for her to grow up so isolated from the rest of the world because, you know, her parents, I mean particularly her dad, was very, you know, like mistrusting of doctors. Like he would not let her go and see a doctor because he thought that they were doing, you know, more harm than good, and he's very mistrusting of the government and, you know, all of those kinds of typical things, but he's so extreme about it and he has that like end of the world mindset too. And so she grew up in this kind of really like toxic way where he was very manipulative of her and her whole family. And I don't know, it's challenging to read, but I'm also finding their family situation to be so fascinating. Like the fact that families like this can and do exist out there, it's just really fascinating, and I'm kind of excited to see her, you know, coming of age story throughout this book. But as of now, you know, I'm 33% in and we're still like in her childhood, like we're still talking about her childhood, and it's just very hard hitting, but it's also very like dense. But I am looking forward to listening to a little bit more of this later tonight. But as of right now, it's a little after 9 o'clock and I think I'm going to watch the movie Wild on Amazon Prime. I just rented it on my laptop right now, so I just want to like get cozy in bed and watch Wild, which I'm so excited about. Before we do watch the movie, I wanted to show you a few little cute like Capricorn related Instagram posts that I've saved over like the last year or so, because a lot of times these like Instagram posts will be like the most relatable shit and I've never felt so seen. This one from the Cosmic Latte, they did this like 2021 Capricorn Wrapped, which is kind of like making fun of the Spotify Wrapped. It's like very similar because it shows top activities for Capricorns in the year of 2021. We're setting goals, being smarter than you, quietly judging, biting sarcasm, and only being peak fun with other earth and water signs. And then the ones at the bottom too with like how many minutes spent thinking about certain things, like minutes deciding between being or having a sugar daddy, minutes avoiding actually feeling feelings, minutes thinking about something until it's resolved, minutes cutting people off who deserve it, minutes being stubborn. I mean, like I said, those are all me. And then I love how it's like only 12 minutes, accepting help from others. This one too from Zodiac Bear is so great. It says, yeah, I'm a Capricorn, canceling plans to stay home, ambitious workaholic, preparing for every step in life, resting bitch face, insecure inside, couldn't care less, opens up to no one, real tired of fake people, not into drama. That is fucking spot on accuracy. Ooh, we got another like Capricorn list here from Capricorn Content, and it says, calm but annoyed by everything, always on the grind, patient with success, rational, I'm baby but independent, can't fake a vibe, old soul mentality, really underrated and never trusting. I also love, there's this Instagram called Birth Date Co, which is like the candle company that sells like the cute candles that have the exact birth dates on them, but they post a bunch of these different cute lists that have like all the zodiac signs and like what they prefer for like certain topics. Like for example, this one says the perfect night in for each sign, and for Capricorn it says a quiet night of reading by a fire. I was like, that is so spot on. And then it says the signs as reality TV shows, and Capricorn's got Selling Sunset, which, oh my god, that is like the only reality show that I watch. Like how weird and like spot on is that? I mean, okay, I do watch The Bachelor and The Circle. I just noticed that they were on this list. And I know that they only pick Selling Sunset probably for Capricorns because there's like the money aspect in it, right? So like that's what's intriguing, is like the business side of it. Anyways, I know those are kind of like lame sometimes, but I just find them to be so fun, and usually they are very spot on. Like I cannot believe how spot on some of the different Capricorn traits feel to me. I didn't even recognize those things in myself until I saw them worded out that way, and then I was like, oh shit. Like, yeah, that's me. But anyways, it's almost 9:30 now. I'm going to watch Wild, which I'm so excited about.
In the eye of time. Everybody's losing. Faces merchant change, but your face remains the same. The swallows will be here by dawn.
Oh my goodness. So I just finished watching the Wild movie and it was just so fucking good. Like, it was so good. I knew it was gonna be good, but I didn't know it was gonna be that good. Reese Witherspoon has always been like one of my faves, but I feel like I've never seen her like this in a role. Like, I feel like she's so raw and she's so real. And I've just never seen her like this before in a movie. I just thought she did so freaking good. I didn't realize Laura Dern was gonna play her mom. Like, what the heck? I love Laura Dern as well. And freaking rest in peace to this amazing director. I can't believe, like, he just died a few months ago or even a few weeks ago. And it was such awful news because I freaking love his directing. He is just such an incredible director and he will be very missed. But wow, oh my god, that was such an accurate book to movie adaptation. Like, there were some scenes that were like word for word, like exactly like the book, and I just really appreciate that, especially because, you know, whenever you read a book like right immediately before you see the movie, it's very fresh in your mind, and I just really love what they did with this movie. Like, the ending just gave me chills, and honestly, like, I just want to go on a hike so freaking badly now after watching this. Like, it's just so inspiring. But yeah, I definitely feel like I want to be more connected with nature than I currently am, because I am currently a freaking homebody. Like, I rarely ever leave my apartment, but I feel like this is all inspiring me to really want to like go out there and like be out in nature a lot more than I am. So anyways, that was incredible. It's like about 11:30 now, so I'm probably just gonna lay in bed for the rest of the night and listen to a little bit more of Educated on audio. Look at this donut. Oh my goodness. Hello, what's up? It's like 11:30 in the morning right now, but I wanted to let you know that last night I listened up to 61% of the way through Educated. So now I'm about exactly like 200 pages in. I have about this much left. And so far I'm still thinking it's really good. It's really hard to read still. I don't think, like, on a personal enjoyment scale, I don't think I'm enjoying this one quite as much as Wild, just to like compare the two nonfictions, even though I know that they're like, they have nothing in common. So like, I don't even know why I would compare them. But just as a nonfiction story goes, I'm enjoying it, but it's also like sometimes it's so hard to read and be critical of like nonfiction books, because it's like, this is this author's story, you know, like this is how it happened. This is not like a fictional story where I can like critique the writing or critique what's happening, because it's like, this is somebody's real life story. So it's kind of hard to talk about, you know, nonfiction books in a way sometimes. But yeah, I have a lot of things that I need to get done today, but I would really like to finish this on audio today. I should be able to finish it no problem. I only have 4 hours left. My mom is coming over within the next like 20 minutes to drop off some stuff that I bought for Rachel's birthday, because my sister's birthday is in like less than 10 days. She's an Aquarius, but we're only 9 days apart. And so I ordered a bunch of gifts that I got sent to my parents' house, because if it gets sent here, the bitch is gonna see it, you know? So I gotta send it to my parents' house. So my mom's dropping off those gifts that I bought, and then I'm gonna give my mom some books. And then I think later on today, I need to go grocery shopping. And then I just have a whole other bunch of stuff that I need to do today. But luckily, it's mostly things that I can listen to this book on audio while I'm doing those things. Tomorrow is my birthday. How exciting. Capricorn season. It's here. It's happening. Capricorn season's actually almost over. My birthday is like in the last like couple of days of Capricorn season, so woo! It's a little bit later in the afternoon, but I'm excited to let you know that I finished Educated. Hinky wants to say hi again, huh? Hi. But I don't know, I mean, I kind of feel like I have mixed feelings on Educated, and it's again, like, I mean, like I said earlier today, it's so hard and difficult to critique nonfiction books, especially ones that are like this. But what I will say is that I do appreciate the overall message in this book, because I do think it's really important to acknowledge how much an education can save someone and how much an education can mean for someone, especially someone who really grew up without education being like a staple thing in her life. I don't know, it just wasn't the most enjoyable reading experience for me, and I know it's probably not intended to be that way, but I just found it really hard to read it sometimes, not only because of the physical and mental abuse that she was suffering from with like her parents' situation, but then there was also like towards the end of this book there was like some animal kind of abuse stuff happening, and I was just like, what the fuck? I don't know, it was just a really difficult read, and I guess not something that I was expecting. I also feel like for this book to be called Educated, I feel like we did spend a lot of time with her family and not so much time with like her actually going to school and getting educated, and like at least that part of the story came about a lot later in the book than I would have expected for this book to be kind of like called Educated and like kind of marketing itself as something that's about education. I did think though that it was really beautiful and really powerful and really moving, and I can see why a lot of people really enjoy this. I think for me personally, just for my taste in books, it's probably going to be somewhere around like a 3.5 to a 4 star. Again, like I didn't dislike it, but there were just certain things about it that I wasn't the biggest fan of. And I saw some other reviewers on Goodreads mentioning how there's not like plot holes in this because this is like a real life story, but there's just some things that don't really make sense in this story. But I don't know, other than my tiny like nitpicks and issues with it, I did have a great time listening to this, and I was very inspired by her story. I pretty much enjoyed everything that I read this week. I mean, I feel like the one that made the least amount of impact on me was the first book that I read, You Have a Match. Like I didn't really, I don't know, as much as I loved like the sister story, it's just something about the writing with like young adult books. They're either like hit or miss for me, and that one was just fine. But everything else that I read in this video, I'm pretty surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I mean, Wild has made such a huge impact on me as a human. I can just feel myself wanting to get out there. Like honestly, I would have gone out on like a walk or a hike or something today, but it's been kind of like raining on and off today, so I didn't want to go out just yet. But like later this week and like this spring and this summer, you bet your ass I'm gonna be out there, and I'm excited. You know, I love anytime a book really does make an impact on me like this and inspires me to do something and to want to, you know, try something different. And so I'm really glad that I read Wild. I'm really glad I read one of the good ones, because I never would have heard of that book if it wasn't for me doing this video. And honestly, like it's not often that I read nonfiction books. Like, I mean, in the whole entire year of 2021, I think I only read 6 nonfiction books. So I mean, that's just going to show that nonfiction is not usually something that I gravitate towards, and that's especially why I'm glad that I read Wild, because I don't know if I would have ever picked it up on my own. So yeah, that's exciting. That's a wrap on this video. I read all of the things. I always get so excited whenever I can actually complete the things that I'm trying to do, because you know, I'm a Capricorn. Like once I have my mind set on something, I need to complete it. You know what's another fun Capricorn fact is that my birthday is tomorrow, you know, and my best friend Austin, his birthday is also tomorrow. Like we have the same birthday. So not only are we both earth signs, we're both Capricorns, but we have the same exact birthday. Isn't that just wild? But anyways, this has been a super fun video, and I would love to know what your star sign is. Are you also a Capricorn, or what star sign are you? I would also love to know if you really feel like you're seen by your star sign. Like, do you read the common traits of your star sign, and do you think like that is me? Like, do you feel represented by that sign? Because I can definitely tell you that I do feel represented and seen as a Capricorn. Like that is 100% me. I identify with like nearly every single trait. And it's just so exciting. So I would love to know if you also relate. I would love to know what you think of this video and of me doing more like secret TBR themed kind of videos like this. I'm pretty excited about this one. And I think in the future I could also do, you know, videos that are kind of like this, where I read books that are recommended for Enneagram type 6, which is what I am. Or I could read books that are recommended for INFJs, which is also what I am. And I think the INFJ one would be a fun one to try to do, because apparently that's the most rare personality type out of all 16 of them. That might be fun and kind of like a challenge kind of video to do as well. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. Thank you so much for watching. If you read any of these books that I mentioned in this video, please let me know your thoughts on those as well. And thank you so much for hanging out and for watching, and I will see you very soon with another video. Bye.